Hi, this video is for you. If you have trouble being nice to yourself, if you tend to be your own worst enemy, then I will talk to you today about connecting to yourself and how awkward that can feel and how it can help you get out of this cycle of loneliness. So, my name is Meryl Vanderham. I'm a certified coach. I struggled with loneliness a lot myself when I was a child. I got into coaching. I learned a lot about loneliness. And now I started this YouTube channel to help people navigate their own feelings of loneliness and to help them step into their power. So let's get to it. So, are you struggling to be kind to yourself, to do something that you know that you would need, or to see what you would need? Do you feel sometimes that you are your own worst enemy? That really is something that's big if you're lonely. I think if you're struggling with loneliness, that would be the place to start. Because self connection is like becoming friends with yourself. And I know because I've been there. I've been like, I was really saying nasty things to myself. I thought I was dumb. I thought I was fat. And I kept reminding myself of those things. I had major imposter syndrome. I didn't think people would find me smart or talentful or anything. And at least that's what I found. And there is a way to get out of that situation. It's not a fixed situation, and you can learn to treat yourself differently. But it's quite a long road, and it will take some work. But you can get there, and once you get there, the reward is big because then you can be your own best friend, and you will always have yourself with you wherever you go. So you are so much stronger if you come from that place and so much more open to contact with the world around you. And that's really why I think this is important to show. I saw recently a video of Julien Leblanc, I think he is called. His account is Julien himself, and he is so talented in how he coaches people through anxiety or self-worth. And there was something that he said that really stayed with me. He said to a woman he was coaching on stage who was really struggling with self-worth and loving herself. He said, okay, imagine you have a child and you hire a babysitter for that child. Now the child falls and is crying, and wants their parent, the mom or dad, to comfort it and pick it up and hush it. And instead, you say, no, I hired a babysitter, you go and do it. And that was like to show how it is that if you don't show up for yourself, you want to be your own parent, and you want to show up for you. And like the kid doesn't want the babysitter to come and comfort them. The kid wants the parent, right? And external validation kind of works like that. It's the parent, you are your own parent. You cannot send the babysitter or some external factors to go and comfort you. And if you can see it like that, that you really need to be there for yourself. And if you have one job is to love yourself, then I think you have a really good starting point. And so here I'm going to talk about how you can do that, or how you can make a start with it, because it's probably quite a long road ahead, and that's fine as well. So it's really awkward sometimes to do things that are good for you, even if it's like being your own best friend. Sometimes, and I also see this in coaching, things you can do for yourself, like buying a warm coat in winter, or taking rest when you need it, or eating eating healthy food is something that is sometimes really hard to do because you are so used to abandoning yourself like that. And the trick is to go and do it anyway. With all the resistance you have in you, go and do it anyway. And that is a way to start to feel better about yourself, even if you don't feel like it at all. So, in this situation, you have, generally speaking, two states of being. So, when you are disconnected from yourself, when you're lonely, disconnect also happens. And Teal Swan wrote a beautiful book about this. It's called Anatomy of Loneliness. And she writes about how we get disconnected from parts of ourselves because in our upbringing and in our youth, our parents have taught us that some habits or some traits are good and valued, and other traits are not valued, and you're not supposed to show that, or you're not supposed to behave like that. And behavior is punished, and other behavior is rewarded. And since we are children so dependent on the love of our parents, we will do anything to get the validation that is like the lifeline for us. It's so essential to our being that we'll do anything for the validation. And that does mean that sometimes you just don't want to, the things that are frowned upon by your parents, you disown them, you fragment, and you don't want to see those anymore. And that is when self abandonment happens. So, for example, you are lazy, and like I was brought up like, oh, okay, be strong, you can do it. Don't complain, don't be independent. So for me, it was really hard to ask for help, for example. And I didn't like it when I was weak. I had opinions about being weak, and I disliked that a lot in other people. And only when I saw that it was a way that I could, that I I didn't want to face my own vulnerability, and I learned in the process to accept my own vulnerability and to embrace it. And that is where integration started, and that is where you get connected to all the parts that you don't, well, that were not appreciated when you were a kid. For example, if you're lazy and it's really hard for you to take a rest, if you feel, I don't know, if you want to be alone and you're supposed to be social, there's many ways in which this can show up. So that really triggers loneliness because you are not with yourself, right? You disown certain parts of yourself, and it makes this connection within you trigger loneliness. You also need more external validation, which is also not what you want. If you're connected, you can be more present with your emotions. You can have emotions and feel your emotions and allow them to be there without judgment, really. And if you let your emotions be there and just embrace, and it's difficult, right? If you're not used to it, to embrace fear or anxiety or sadness, and have those emotions mostly like you would comfort a child, like, okay, I know you're scared, what would you say to that child within you? And I think that's a very good analogy to get to that, those emotions. And this will bring you inner peace, and it will also make you less dependent on the circumstances. And if so, it doesn't matter how you show up to other people anymore. So you can be your whole authentic self, and you go, and this will make it easier for other people to connect to you as well. So it's a whole system that will get set in motion once you get the hang of it, and it will take practice, and you won't get there. It's not a quick fix, but it's so valuable that I really want to encourage you to take those steps. So yeah, this is what I talked about, like self-abandonment. When you have this emptiness, you don't really face your true needs. If you need rest, but you're told not to be lazy, so you feel like you cannot really rest, then it's somewhere where you can fill that void by being there for you and showing up for yourself. Now, generally speaking, there are three levels of awareness. The first is the mind, and this is what I talked about in a previous video as well, is how you can have a lot of convictions and a lot of thoughts that run through your head and a lot of opinions about yourself. And the whole name of the game is to find out what it is that's actually running through your mind. And I really like the acceptance and commitment therapy, where they can see your mind as a caricature, right? As a cartoonesque type figure. And you can just give it any name you want, and you can make it have a very sneering voice or a yapping in your ear, or you can visualize how this type would look like and how it would what it says to you, and that way it's that you create some distance between you and all the opinions and thoughts racing through your mind, and this will help you create some distance, and it will help you believe less what your mind is saying. So if your mind is constantly saying all kinds of things about yourself, you will see it as it is, just a old program starting up, and you can decide not to believe it. And I think that's really important. If you decide not to believe it, then it will create some space, and then you can see it for what it is, just like old programming, and turn down the volume a bit. Now, where you also can get connected is in your heart. So if you sit down and place a hand on your heart, and you can just relax and just feel in your heart and feel what's there and what emotions come up. And all the emotions are okay. Just let it be there for a moment and just feel everything that it needs to be felt. And yes, it can be scary at first, and I completely understand that. But you can feel. People are made to feel, and emotions are difficult sometimes, but they come and go, and they will never be there forever. And if you can let it flow through you, it will transform into something else, and it will get lighter, I promise. Now, the other part is awareness on the physical level. And this is more like, okay, how is my system? Are my shoulders clenched? Is my jaw tensed up? Do I have a knot in my stomach? Do I need a rest? Do I need a walk? What do I need? And how does my body feel? And a body has far more wisdom in it than you think. So just feel whatever there is to feel in your body and let it flow through you naturally, and 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 act on it. And I think that's, even if it doesn't feel like it, act on what you feel you need at that moment. And that's a way to connect to yourself on the very first level. Now, how is a lonely brain in action? And I talked about this in the previous video as well. And it's the whole vicious circle that's the spiraling out of control with you're lonely and you feel disconnected, and this disconnect creates stress hormones, so your system gets flooded with cortisol and adrenaline, and because you're in an alert state because of all the hormones, you assess situations and people more negative, and your negative beliefs get more validated as well. So your negative thought patterns start revving up. Your self-criticism intensifies, and this will deepen the disconnect you have with yourself and with others. And this will also reactivate the stress response, and then you have the cortisol thing, and so it spirals. It keeps on spiraling. Now, how can you change this? And there are actually 3 tools I want to talk to you about. The first is just have a daily check-in with yourself. Just sit on a chair, sit on the floor, feel your butt on the chair, feel your feet on the floor, breathe in and out, and ask yourself, like, what am I feeling right now? how am I here? How does my body feel? And let anything that comes up just come up and see what happens and allow it to be there. Now, the second one is conscious breathing, and I'll just show you a breathing practice in the next slide. And the third is reflective journaling, where you can, and I'll give you a writing exercise as well, where you can write out whatever thoughts are on your mind so you can have a mind dump and clear your head. But also to dialogue with yourself and to see, like, okay, what wants to come out in me, and what do I need, and how, and be surprised if what can happen if you're just free flowing with a pen and paper. And really, pen and paper works a lot better than typing it out, or either on your phone or on a laptop, but just write it out and just see what comes up. I found it really valuable. I had lots of diaries when I was younger and in more difficult phases than I am now. And I found writing really helps me to get some clarity on situations. So, okay, the breathing exercise, and there's been a lot of research, but also from old yoga practices. This is a very easy breathing practice that you can do. Everybody can do. You can do it everywhere you want, and it's shown that it really lowers your stress rate and your heart rate and calms your nervous system. So what you do is you just sit, you relax, and then you inhale for 4 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold it for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you exhale for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you hold it empty also for 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you just repeat it. Repeat it like 10 times at least, and see what feels good. If you want to do it for 5 minutes, even better. And it will lower all the stress reactions you have in your body at that moment. And the last one is the journaling. So sit down, have a cup of tea, take pen and paper, and write whatever comes to your mind. Be kind to yourself. See if you can write with kindness. And the way to do it is see your hurt inner child as the parts you were, like you were your own, you as a child, and that's still somewhere in you. What does that little child need from you right now? And speak to it with compassion, like you are a dear friend. You wish it the best, and see what comes up. And if there's action that comes up, take it, take that action, and honor your needs. And there's another writing exercise that I want to share with you, and it's really helpful if you have kind of trouble navigating your emotions, or if you have trouble feeling your emotions. It's a very simple exercise. You just take the same pen and paper, and you sit down and um, you write, I am angry because dot dot dot. And there are 4 basic human emotions, that is anger, sadness, anxiety, and happiness, joy, maybe. So, and you start with anger, and you write, I am angry because dot dot dot, I am angry because dot. Just as long as you don't have any things anymore to be angry about, then you start with sadness, and then you start with anxiety. And you just write everything down, what you're scared of, what you're sad about, and last, what you're joyful about. And then take a step back and see what you've written and see what came up. So this was my video. I hope you really found it helpful. Let me know in the comments below if these suggestions were good for you, if they were helpful, what you would like to see more on this channel. And please subscribe and give a like, and that would help me tremendously. Thank you. Have a lovely day. Bye bye.